Imagine getting a message from your best friend at 11:47 at night. Not a voice note, not a call, but a photo. You look at it. A hotel room, white bed, bedside lamp, a window with the curtain half open. Nothing obviously wrong. Nothing that should make your stomach drop. And yet, you look at the photo again, and then you see it. Her name was Lena. She was 31 years old, and she was the kind of person who remembered your bad days without being reminded, who texted first, who showed up, the kind of person whose absence, when it finally came, would leave a shape in the room. She and her closest friend, Maya, had known each other for 11 years, since the second week of university. When Lena sat down at the wrong lecture, and neither of them noticed until it was halfway over, they stayed for the whole thing anyway. That was Lena. She called Maya on the Thursday before it happened. The conversation was brief and entirely ordinary. There was a work conference, a hotel room to herself for 2 nights, room service, sleep past 7 for the first time in months. Maya told her that sounded perfect. Lena laughed. They said they'd talk when she got back. She never got back. The Alderton Hotel. 11 floors, 142 rooms, a conference center on the second floor, a restaurant on the ground level, both of them fully occupied that weekend. Lena had been assigned room 2014. She checked in Friday evening at 8:52 p.m., exchanged a few words with the front desk attendant, took the elevator to the second floor, and was never seen again, not that night, and not the following morning when her colleagues knocked on the door. Not when hotel staff entered with a master key at 9:30 a.m. and found her phone on the bedside table. Her suitcase unpacked, her coffee sitting cold on the desk, just gone. But Lena had not vanished silently. At 11:47, the previous night, she had sent Maya that photograph from room 214. While she was still standing inside it. When investigators first examined the photograph, it appeared entirely unremarkable. A tidy room, a made bed, the curtain half open, the lamp on. Maya had studied it for 3 days before the police ever asked her about it. And every single time, her eyes kept returning to the same place in the frame. The Warsick. In the background of the photograph, above the dresser, was the room's wall mirror, in its reflection, slightly out of focus. The way phone cameras lose sharpness at distance. Was Lena herself. She was holding the phone, taking the photo. That much was perfectly ordinary. What was not ordinary was her expression. She was smiling for the camera. Her body was relaxed, her posture easy. Everything about her appeared calm, but her eyes were not looking at the camera. They were looking at something behind her, something just outside the frame, something the photograph did not show. Detective Reyes, a quiet woman with the particular stillness of someone who had heard every terrible story there was to hear, studied the photograph for a long time. Then she set it down. And she looked at Maya. "We noticed that too," she said. The investigation was thorough. Every hour of CCTV footage reviewed. Every guest on the second floor interviewed. Waiting su du avitinarse. The conference organizers, the housekeeping staff, the colleagues who had shared dinner with Lena Friday evening and said. Every single one of them said. She seemed perfectly fine, happy even. The footage confirmed Lena entering room 2014 at 8:52 p.m. It did not confirm her leaving, not through the door, not through any exit visible on that floor. One detail drew particular attention. The window. Room 214 faced the hotel's interior courtyard. A small enclosed garden 2 floors below, accessible only through a ground floor service door, locked from the inside all night. No signs of forced entry or courtyard in. The window had been opened. Not broken, not forced, opened from the inside, deliberately. and on the exterior ledge, a single item had been left behind. A room key. Not Lena's key. Hers was still on the bedside table next to her phone. A different key for a different room, room 108. The guest registered in room 108 had checked out at 6 a.m. that Saturday morning, 2 hours before the alarm was raised. Cash payment. A name that matched no identification on record. The security camera covering that corridor had experienced a 12-minute technical outage, logged in the maintenance system. Between 11:40 and 11:52 p.m. 11:42 to 11:52. Lena had sent the photograph at 11:47. Here is where the story stops being what you thought it was. But before I tell you, drop a comment right now. Where in the world are you listening to this? And what time is it where you are? Because I want to know who is still here. Hit that subscribe button too, so the next twist finds you. Alright, let's continue. Lena knew she was going to disappear that night. She had planned it, every single detail. The conference booking, the specific room she had requested. The cash reservation for room 108 made 3 weeks in advance, under a name she had chosen carefully. The window, the key left on the ledge. All of it planned. The guest in room 108 was Lena. She had checked in 2 days before the conference began, under a false identity. Left the room 108 key on the ledge of room 214, the night before she officially arrived at the hotel. Sent the photograph to Maya, not as a distress signal, not as a clue, not as a cry for help, but as the only goodbye she was safe enough to send. Because here is what no one outside her life could see from the outside. Lena had been living inside a situation that had taken years to name correctly. Not a stranger, someone he trusted, someone close, someone who had made leaving feel impossible, and who had found her every single time she had tried. So this time, she had not run, she had vanished. Think about the mirror in that photograph. Her eyes looking sideways, at something just outside the frame that you couldn't see. She was looking at the window, at the exit she had already prepared, at the version of herself that was about to begin. She had held the camera steady and smiled. One last familiar smile, the kind Maya would recognize, the kind that said, "I am fine, don't worry." While already quietly she was letting go, at 11:49 p.m. during those 12 dark minutes when the camera on room 108's corridor saw nothing. Lena walked out of room 2014 and down to the ground floor, through the courtyard, through a service gate she had unlocked 3 days earlier, during a quiet daytime visit, into a car she had arranged months in advance. And she was gone, not taken, not lost, gone, on her own terms. For the first time in years, Detective Reyes found Lena 4 months later. A small apartment in a coastal town 2 states away, a job at a bookshop. A different name, a life that looked from the outside entirely unremarkable. And was, to Lena, everything. Reyes sat with her for 2 hours before filing a single report. She asked Lena what she needed. Lena said, time. The legal process that followed was long and imperfect, the way those things always are, but it moved forward. And Lena was not found by anyone she had been hiding from. That part held. 8 months after the night she vanished, Lena wrote to Maya. A letter, not a message, not an email. 3 handwritten pages. She explained everything she could. She apologized for the fear she had caused. She said she had thought about calling Maya 100 times in those months, and stopped herself every single time. Not because she didn't trust her, but because she could not risk a single traceable moment until she was truly safe. She told Maya she had kept 1 photograph on her phone during those first months away. The same one she had sent, not as a reminder of the plan, as a reminder that she had been brave enough to execute it. Maya wrote back the same day the letter arrived. She told Lena she had looked at that photograph every single day for 8 months. That she had been terrified, and then confused, and then heartbroken, and then something she still did not have a name for. And then she wrote the only thing that actually mattered. That she was so relieved Lena was alive. Everything else, all of the fear and the not knowing, felt like nothing at all. Room 2014 at the Alderton Hotel still exists. It has been repainted. A different mirror hangs above the dresser now. Hundreds of guests have slept there since that Friday night in November, and none of them know what the room once held. None of them know that what happened in that room was not, in the end, a disappearance. It was someone finally choosing herself. If Lena's story stayed with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. New stories on Twisted Frames every week. Subscribe so the next twist finds you. And if you have ever had to disappear to survive, the comments are here.